All right, this may not go anywhere, but I'm on the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District meetings, or sorry, district boards YouTube page, and I've just been kind of watching some of these board meetings. It should be boring, but it's kind of quite fascinating, I guess. But I wanted just to go over this clip. This is about a. This is how they're starting the meeting. This is the very beginning of the meeting. What you're seeing here on the screen right now is this guy's just talking about some public safety things, telling him where to exit in the case of an emergency. But then next, they're going to pull up an attorney who's representing pro bono a fallen firefighter. And I just think it's interesting that they're starting this off on one of their first meetings because I think it's kind of as unfortunate of a circumstance it is, I feel like they're using it as a PR mechanism to demonstrate how bad the last board was and how they're going to come in and fix all these problems. And I'm just kind of wanting to do a public records request about how this attorney came to be the first presenter at this board meeting and see if there's any sort of discussions going on. And also I'm going to see if I can get any information about why the prior board was denying the requests for the fallen firefighters benefits. So I'm going to click play here and we'll just go through this.
Thank you very much. And now we'll go to public comments. And the first is an attorney named Jeff Aaron. And just a little bit of background here. I actually invited Mr. Aaron to speak here today. He called me on Monday and advised me about some information that was new to me relating to a widow of one of our firefighters. And then I received a letter from him this morning. But after receiving his call on Monday, I asked our general counsel to do some background work. And I believe he will have an update for Mr. Aaron concerning his presentation. And as I've indicated before, during public comments, the board doesn't answer any questions and typically doesn't comment. But since I have invited Mr. Aaron, I anticipate that we will have some comments from the board, and we will certainly have a response from our general counsel and perhaps some questions. So, Mr. Aaron, just state your full name for the record and tell us who you represent. I know you're doing it on a pro bono basis, and we really appreciate that. But please state your name for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Jeff Aaron. I'm an attorney at Gray Robinson, and I'm here representing Miss Leslie Dormany, who is the surviving spouse and widow of fallen firefighter Lieutenant Jim Dormany. As many of you know, Jim Dormany, Lieutenant Dormany, had worked for Reedy Creek for 18 years before he fell in the line of duty in May of 2017. His wife, my client, Miss Dormany, has been waiting for 6 years for some relief from the Public Safety Officers Benefit Program, which is administered by the Department of Justice, and that's a program that would pay benefits to fallen firefighters and other public safety officers. For 6 years, Ms. Dormany has been waiting for word from the Department of Justice, and they're unable to respond to her because the application is incomplete. The PSOB application is 2 parts. Part A is a portion that the claimant fills out. In this case, that's Ms. Dormany. She filled that out in 2017. And Part B is a portion that the officer's agency must fill out. In this case, it had been Reedy Creek for 6 years. For reasons unknown to me, the Reedy Creek had been unwilling to cooperate with the PSOB office and refused to fill out that form. It is literally a form. The lion's share of this document is contact information, some basic multiple choice, questions on the method, on the relief requested and the cause of death, if it's even known. Once the DOJ gets this form, then they will be able to complete a thorough review of Ms. Dormany's application and render a final determination. I know this with certainty because I've been in contact with a gentleman by the name of Michael Jenkins, who is the director he is the benefits specialist assigned to this claim. Mr. Jenkins has expressed a great desire to help Ms. Dormany and make sure that this application is complete, had been in touch with Reedy Creek lawyers in the past who instructed him that they would not fill out the form. And he was shocked to hear that. It's rare that an agency doesn't support a fallen firefighter. But he remains willing, Mr. Jenkins remains willing to communicate directly with the Reedy Creek district, with the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District, and help in any way possible to complete this form and submit it so that Ms. Dormany can have a final determination. I've got copies of my letter here with me, along with my email communications with Mr. Jenkins, so everyone can have his contact information. You can email him, call him directly. He even offered his cell phone. And so I'm here today just simply asking that this board, who can and should do better than Reedy Creek did for 6 years, direct your executive director, or your attorneys, whoever the appropriate person is, to complete this Part B application and submit it to the DOJ. That's all we're asking. I'm happy to answer any questions, but that's all I have.
Well, Mr. Aaron, thank you for your comments. We will have some information here in a moment from our general counsel, but I anticipate that some of my board members will have some comments. And I'd first ask Supervisor Ongst, who's been very interested, involved, and this issue's been very near and dear to his heart. So Supervisor?
I don't see any reason, and I have investigated it, and Mr. Classy has provided me with emails back and forth between the district, the old district, and DOJ. I fully understand the issue from a legal context. I understand the position that the district previously took, but I am more than willing, and in fact, from my perspective, as one of 5 directing the district to move on from that position and to fill out the Form B. My understanding, if to distill it, is that our refusal to fill out the Form B kicked it into a different, more bureaucratic process. But Mr. Langley, do you have any other information on that? All we have to do is fill out the form. Is that right?
Yeah, excuse me, there's a Form B that needs to be completed. I went ahead and reached out to the district's existing labor and employment lawyer to get access to the file to review everything, and that's already in process. The files were transmitted last night to the Labor Council, and he's reviewed about a third of that file, and thinks as of the end of the day, he'll be able to make a recommendation to the staff to move forward with completing that form based on that information. That's assuming there's not something else in that file that would reverse that position from a legal standpoint. But essentially, we do think at this time it will be possible to complete that form in a way that would not be a mischaracterization of anything, and we can provide that to DOJ probably as early as next week. I would like the board's direction to move forward in that regard with flexibility pending review, completion of review.
Okay, but basically from here, what they're going to do is say, hey, we're going to sign this Form B and fix what this lousy prior board was failing to do before. And I'm not trying to be, I don't want to say that that Leslie Dormany is not entitled to any benefits. I'm not trying to say anything about that particular situation, other than I think it's interesting that this is the first issue they're bringing up because it's, an emotional issue, and it sounds really bad, frankly, for the last board that they're not helping this guy out due to some technicality. But while I was listening to this, I actually decided to Google Jeff Aaron to see what he's got going on. I found his website here. I'll pull it up from his firm. This is him, Gray Robinson. And I was just going through his information, and I see here media mentions Governor Ron DeSantis appoints 2 to the Public Employee Relations Commission. And if I click on that link, lo and behold, this is December 22, 2021. Today, Governor Ron DeSantis announced the appointment of Jeff Aaron and Michael Sasso, who's on the board there, to the Public Employee Relations commission. Jeff Aaron is a senior associate with Gray Robinson, and that's pretty much all it has to say to that. But I mean, it's just, you see that these people are all tied together. This is a political thing, and it's just kind of interesting. So what I got from here when I was going through the notes or making my notes is that, I want to just see if I can do a public records request and get some of this information. Number one, to see what kind of communications they were having bringing Jeff Aaron over, and see if they had anything about why he was doing that in some of these emails or letters, whatever it might be. And then just to see why the prior board was refusing to do that Part B of the PSOB application. Again, it's just personal curiosity, just to see what happens, and where that goes might go nowhere. But anyway, I'm going to be doing that, and I'll let you know when I have any updates. I just thought I would go ahead and record me submitting my request. So here's what I put together based on those notes. In a public board meeting on April 26, 2023, an attorney named Jeff Aaron spoke at the outset of the meeting regarding the prior board's refusal to process Part B of the PSOB application, I should say, for Leslie Normani. During his address, he mentioned a few different types of documents or communications. I'm requesting copies of these documents in electronic format, including any correspondence between any board member and Jeff Aaron regarding the subject matter of his address. He mentioned that he had a letter. Any correspondence between any board member and Jeff Aaron regarding his presentation to the board, including any communications coordinating his appearance. And that was Garcia mentioned that he had exchanged some emails. I'm also wondering, since he serves on that other public board with Sasso, if maybe Sasso and Aaron had communications regarding this. So since Sasso's a board member, that should apply to him as well. A copy of the letter received by Chairman Garcia from Jeff Aaron on or around April 25, 2023. I kind of already included that. Any emails between Garcia and Attorney Langley regarding the background investigation of the matter. Garcia mentioned that he had sent emails. Any correspondence between the board and Michael Jenkins regarding the matter. I don't know if there are those documents, but it seemed that there could be. And that would also include the prior board. And copies of the files transmitted to the board or its attorneys on April 25, 2023 regarding the matter. Langley had said that they received those and that they were under review. And then copies of any documents explaining the prior board's decision not to fill out Part B of the, I should say, PSOB form. Okay, so hopefully, though, these are documents that they should already have on hand that they were discussing. Oh, I'm off the screen. And hopefully they can just turn those over without too much of a problem. I may have to pay 15 cents per copy. I don't know how many copies they're going to be. They could also, it's just, I'm going to be curious to see how they respond. But I'm hoping we can get those and kind of see how Jeff Aaron ended up being there at the meeting, and then the substance of why the prior board may have been refusing to fill out that Part B form. Okay, so I'll let you know when I have details. Again, subscribe to my channel if you want to follow up. Also, there's a link below to my website, and you can subscribe to my newsletter, and I'll send updates to your email if you're curious about what happens there. Okay, thanks.